And the noise, you can hear it from 200-300 meters.
So it's students living their best life.
There's 6.2 miles between you and finishing on Boylston Street.
Everything that you've gone through before this point, it's all coming together at this one place.
The one race that I think I always wanted to do. I get goosebumps thinking about it. Welcome to the Boston Marathon presented by Bank of America. My name is Amrit. I've been lucky enough to run this race twice. Myself and Aubrey will be giving you all the tips, tricks to get your best performance on race day.
Now, I want to start way before race day. Every brand, well, close to, will set up a pop-up store in that local area close to the expo. And that, to me, is the start of Boston Marathon weekend.
Boston is so unique that the expo, the finish line are so close together.
Yes.
That little eco bubble. And for me, it's the mecca of running. It was the one race that I think I always wanted to do. And having gone out there, the bubble, the noise, the excitement, the different brands that are there is a lot to see. So definitely plan ahead. If you're heading there a little bit early, target where you want to go, all your favorite brands, all the favorite stores, the shakeout runs. There are tons. You're going to see hundreds and thousands of runners on Newbury Street, especially on the Saturday morning. There is the 5K that's taking place. There's a 5K of your own that you might be doing just before you start the marathon weekend.
The shakeouts are my favorite. Literally everywhere you turn, somebody somewhere has organized one. And it's just what the running community is about.
I took many years to try and qualify for Boston. When I first did it, it was also my 6-star race, so it added that extra little bit of sparkle that was there, and I think it just made my experience just 10 times better.
9 o'clock for the yellow bibs. Yeah, so they check your bib and then get you on one of these school buses.
One of the things that I love about Boston Marathon weekend, you get yourself into this park and they have these yellow school buses that take all of the runners to the start line.
So you will be fulfilling a journey onto the start line. School bus, take your little sandwiches with you for the breakfast, whatever it is that you have. I personally ate my sandwiches and breakfast routine on the bus just because you get there so early. When I first ran Boston, it was torrential rain. One thing I would definitely say for Boston is take plastic bags for your feet, just so you want your socks and your shoes to remain dry. When you get to the school in the start area, it can be muddy. You want something clean to put down onto the floor so that you can sit and rest and get yourself prepared for the race.
You know what buses you're getting into. You get to the school and that organization carries on. It's part of that experience. So make sure you're there in time and you take it all in and you're not panicking to get to certain places in certain times.
So the Boston Marathon course is predominantly undulating. What I mean by that is you get some ups and you get quite a lot of downs. The one nuance about the Boston Marathon course, it is a point-to-point course. So you would have taken that bus ride 26.2 miles out because you're running 26.2 miles back. At the start, once you've heard the national anthem, everyone will be shooting out like rockets. The start line is downhill. What I remember, the first 3 miles was just running at pure pace. Hold your pace. Hold it together because you do not want to ruin your race within the first 30 minutes.
What that does to your leg muscles, going downhill, might not be something you've experienced before, especially considering how long you're going downhill for. So for me, my biggest advice for you is be very intentional about how you run the downhill at the start because it goes on for quite some time. What you're going to do there, you might need to pay for in a lot of interest for the hills that you're about to face.
I think it also might be quite easy for you to get a little bit carried away at the start because it feels so easy. You've got all your energy in the tank. You've still got 6 or 7 gels with you. You've got everything you need.
Right.
But as you've mentioned, those 5 or 10 seconds can cost you because that loading on the quads, that constant nature of the first 15 or so miles being so downhill heavy will make you pay. So every second does count in Boston. So really stick to even pacing if you can, or run by effort.
One of the things you want to look out for at any of these marathons is support. Now, one place that stands out to me, Amrit, and I was told about this and I prepared for it, around halfway, you are met with the Scream Tunnel at Wellesley College.
And the noise just echoes. You can hear it from 200-300 meters. You know what's coming, and it lasts for around 100 meters or so, which is probably 30 seconds or to a minute, and it is just noise upon noise upon noise. Really soak it in. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
Have screams. Now it's cheering, but also, like we said, it's college, so it's students living their best life. How else would you articulate it?
Wellesley College section around halfway is hyped with activity. There is a lot of noise. There is cannons. There is kissing in the crowd. There is beer being drunk. There is lots of things happening. So get involved if you're definitely needing a bit of pick-me-up, especially once you get to halfway. Wellesley College is the spot for you.
Absolutely. Look out for that.
So you've navigated the halfway point. You're then hitting the main section in the Boston Marathon course, the Newton Hills, roughly around kilometer 25, 15 or so miles for about 4 or 5 miles. This section is 4 main hills. From my experience, everyone talks about Heartbreak Hill. It's the 4th hill out of them. But personally, the 3rd hill is the one that really bites. It's shorter, it's a little bit steeper, and it really does extract so much mental belief that you need to get through. Then you have Heartbreak Hill.
It can be underwhelming sometimes, especially when you've been doing your epic training. You then get to the top of this hill, you see a sign and it says, you conquered Heartbreak Hill. Now, obviously, for our runners, they're all strong runners. They're going to be like, what, was that it? What was your experience running over Heartbreak Hill?
Heartbreak Hill was, again, a bit of an anticlimax, I think, for me. Having done it twice, I got through it, but then I said to myself, that was fine. I've just done 4 of these. This was adding one more to that. Didn't really bat an eyelid. I managed to get through it, but the one thing I would say with the Newton Hills, with that section of hills, is it does give you that change of course profile. You've had constant down, down, down. You then get a series of ups. Your legs will be feeling it. So if you've managed your pacing well until that sort of marker in the course, and you manage to navigate yourself through the Newton Hills, you would have done extremely well. Once you're at the top of Heartbreak Hill, that is mile 20. You know there's 10k to the finish line. There's 6.2 miles between you and finishing on Boylston Street.
We always say run to effort. And I gave myself a heart rate goal. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep my heart rate as my way of translating effort, my heart rate between this point over these hills. And it turned out that it worked out very well. What I liked about the tips you've been giving in this series is sometimes you have to ignore the pace and run to effort.
Naturally, you might likely to see that your pace will slightly slow on the hills. That is completely normal.
Absolutely.
The way you run hills is having a nice fixed gaze ahead of you, nice short steps, keep your feet light. Think very, very light feet. There is no bad way to run up a hill. There is no bad way unless you're falling backwards,
Absolutely.
which you're not going to do. But tell yourself, navigating yourself through the hills, even if your pace does dip a little bit, the effort is there. Your heart rate is still elevated. You're still giving it your all. And what that translates to on a flatter surface is that same pace that you want to see on your watch. It just means that you're just giving something in the tank so you can save yourself for when you crest the top of the hill and then go down.
If you've conquered Heartbreak Hill, it's a sign that you can't fail the rest. You've got this. Heartbreak Hill is done. The rest is now going to be up for you to just take it and go with it.
So you're approaching the last mile. You see that famous sit-go sign. That is 1 mile to go. One thing you need to remember, there is that final underpass. We've been talking a lot about being in like a boxing match. This is probably the final jab before you make that right on Hereford, left on Boylston. you go under the underpass and you've got one final climb, one final bit of effort to G yourself up for that home stretch finish. How was it for you, Aubrey?
Do you know what? Once I did make that left and you see this corridor, which is you and the Boston Marathon.
Listen, you're worth it. You belong here. Let's go!
Everything that you've gone through before this point almost feels like it's all coming together at this one place. Now, Amrit, I can't tell you how much I cherished being at Boston Marathon, and that corridor for me was validation for all of this training and all of the hills we've just talked about, the jabs you've just told me about, and it just felt like this is the moment that I came here for.
It's such an iconic finish, and unicorns don't exist unless you're in Boston. That is when you become a Boston Marathon finisher, and you can be proud to say that you are. The one thing about the finish and that whole stretch of road is the journey that you bring from the start of the race all the way to that finish point. Whether you qualified, whether you took a tour program, whether you took a charity spot, you are about to finish the Boston Marathon. And for me personally, when I first ran the Boston Marathon course, it was the end of a 6-star journey, and it meant so much. I wore the 6-star bib on my back, and throughout the 26 miles, people were patting me on my back, giving me that free extra boost. So one extra tip, if you are going for your 6-star in Boston, wear the extra bib on the back of your singlet or your t-shirt, because people in the course will know that this is your 6-star race.